September the 9th meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. We got a short meeting, so we won't be probably keeping you real long tonight, so. And also like to welcome those that are watching by way of internet to our meeting. And we'll move right along to announcements. September the 13th is a Rec Center 5K, and that's also the celebration of 25 years of the Rec Center being there. And then also on September the 18th, we got Chefs on Fire at the WPAC fundraiser. And then Tuesday, September 23rd is our other regular scheduled board meeting. Y'all leave anything out? Rob?
No, sir.
Okay, you have any public comments tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll move right along to additions or deletions to the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I propose two additions to the agenda after item F4. The first will be a presentation by Kip Sutton, who's here about the changes we've made to our website concerning sustainability. And he has a brief presentation to make.
And that'll be after 4.
After item F4,
But
and then
taking item 5.
that'd be fine. And then, and after that, a consideration of changing our meeting date in November from November the 25th to November the 18th.
Okay. We've got,
Now I can explain that more when we get
is
to that.
that your motion also?
Yes,
Okay.
add both those items.
Okay. I'll need a second.
Second.
Second by Anthony. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, and the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Got a second. Chuck, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. We're moving on. Okay, we got a proclamation here for Constitution Week, and I will read that proclamation. Proclamation of the Constitution Week, which is September the 17th through the 23rd. Whereas September the 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this enduring document on this anniversary and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas public law 915 guarantees the issuing of the proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September the 17th through the 23rd as Constitutional Week. Now therefore, I, Gary Caldwell, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Waynesville, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the week of September the 17th through the 23rd as Constitutional Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideas of the framers of our Constitution had in 1787 by relentlessly protecting the freedom guaranteed to us through the guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the town to be affixed this the 9th day of September of the year of our Lord 2025. Got it. Got it. You need that? Okay. All right. We shall move along. If I had a drink of water in between some of this. We'll move on to item number 4. Jesse Fowler, you want to give us about ARC GIS Pro conversion contract?
ARC GIS.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor, Board. So the town currently uses a program called ArcMap, and it's provided from an overarching company called Esri. ArcMap is kind of a legacy program that Esri has produced probably since the 70s, and it hasn't really changed much since the 70s. You open it up now, kind of the same as it did then. But around 2015, they decided they were going to upgrade that software to a program called ArcGIS Pro. When you open up a Word document now, you'll see it kind of a lot user-friendly for guys. That's what this looks like. But the big benefit to having ArcGIS Pro is that it would allow us to do a lot of functions that we currently can't do with our ArcMap program. So currently with ArcMap, what we rely on it for is really just land use planning and kind of general map making that we do otherwise, and utilities. We have a little bit of the functionality of ArcGIS Pro right now with ArcGIS Online, but it's incredibly limited because we really only have one license to be able to do those things. My mic.
We can actually.
I could hear you just
We can
fine.
hear you.
Nobody ever has a problem
There
hearing
you
me,
go.
apparently. So the reason why it's kind of limited is because right now we only have 3 licenses with ArcMap. They're what you call concurrent licenses. A concurrent license operates in a way that we have 3 licenses. Myself or Rob can use those 3 licenses, or anybody in town can, but if anybody logs on more than 3 people, then it shuts them out and they can't use it. That's the old license model that they used to have. Concurrent licenses are what they did. They're getting rid of that with their move to ArcGIS Pro. The movement to ArcGIS Pro isn't really negotiable, right? They're moving over there. They're not going to support ArcMap anymore coming in the beginning of next year. So we've been kind of working with them to figure out the best license package to do what we needed. And when we were going through that, we kind of discovered that this ArcGIS Pro could handle a lot of the functions that we were already trying to kind of horseshoe our current licenses to do anyway. A good example would be public works and streets, service management. So picking up garbage, picking up recycling, logging issues in the field and tracking those vehicles while they work. Those are all solutions that ArcMap can provide, along with all of the current day-to-day kind of land use planning that we do already. It can also be used for a lot of the tree management that ESB has been trying to work for. They've got a solution specifically designed for that, along with a lot of parks and rec management, facilities management, grounds management, and scheduling. And the really cool part about this that we found is that these licenses offer us the ability to do a work order system as well. So not only are we just logging data and tracking data and analyzing it, we can send people out with work orders. They'll get that on their phone. Because it's a mapping software, they'll say, I've got a work order at 101 Rhodey Lane. They can see that where it's at. They click on it, and it's got the work order information on it. In the packet that I've given you, I've kind of screenshotted a bunch of different solutions that they have. This is a small amount. There's about 115 of these, just little kind of tabs of kind of the names of them in a brief description. All of these are free to us except for about 7 or 8 of them, which are a lot of the emergency management stuff like fire tracking and police tracking, stuff that takes active tracking. You've got to kind of pay a little bit more for that. It's on the table, but that's not what we're asking for today. If there's a solution in here in one of the 115 on their website that doesn't come tailored fit to something that we have, like I was looking around a lot specifically for waste management, because we've been dealing a lot with public works and trying to kind of reorganizing or rescheduling some of the routes, and how do we deal with people that are missed or maybe aren't educated on when they should put their trash out. If that solution's not in there, we can build it, right? So we build our maps and we build our attribute tables and we build our forms, and then it becomes accessible to the employee that's in the field. As I said before, that employee isn't going to use a concurrent license. They're going to have a named user license. So just like we all have our own named user license with Microsoft, it's the same model. I can't sign on to Rob's Microsoft account because it's his account unless I have his password. Same thing with this. So the downside to moving away from the concurrent license model is that it's far more expensive. Currently, we pay about $3,766 a year for the 3 licenses that we have. Those licenses that we have currently are 2 of their smallest licenses, which are their basics. The issue that we were having with the basic licenses, I first ran into in the planning department because, for example, a canopy study that the ESB was looking into several months ago, that requires a process called spatial analysis. And under our current basic licenses, we don't have the authority to do that analysis. It's a complex math equation. There, people spend a lot of time putting that tool together. They want you to pay for it. So you can't use it under our current licenses. The new ones let us do that because we were offered so many of the higher level licenses. When we looked at this, we thought, well, this seems like a lot of licenses. So we started putting names to licenses. That's what that big spreadsheet is. I gave you a printout of it. We've assigned everybody that we think, and we can move these around as we kind of operationally see who needs what. But we realized that it might not even be enough, but it's what we're going to work with. I went back to Esri and asked them, hey, I've got some empty licenses in some of these buckets. Can I move some around? And they said, no, because what we're offering you is the enterprise deal for small towns. And I've never heard this before. I said, well, how is it so cheap, right? Because it seems expensive. It's 20 grand a year. They're giving us the conversion deal on the first year, which is about $6,000. They're giving us credit for a lot of the stuff we've already done with them. And then the next 2 years of the contract are going to be $20,000 split across funds. That is in that spreadsheet, and it's on the cover sheet as well. What they told us was that they've offered us this enterprise license, and they offer this to towns that are small. It's such a great deal because, quote, they don't feel like small towns should have to pay the same amount as places like Raleigh and Charlotte. And I thought that was awesome. That's why there's so many. And it's a benefit that there's so many because if you think about what we intend to use this for, it's kind of a retraining on how we've traditionally used ArcMap for land use planning and some events planning, but even then you're kind of bastardizing the program, is that each person will have on them, that's why I included the technology costs in there as well. They will be able to access this on their phone and they need a license to do that. A lot of these maps will be able to be made public. So you can sign into ArcMap online. A lot of their maps are public, so the public can view them too. They just can't interact with them in a way that we would be able to. And so what we're asking the board for is to approve this new license structure and convert to ArcGIS Pro. We're going to put some trainings together for people that are going to be using this in the field across the different departments. And if you have any questions, here.
Oh, yeah. I figured I would start with Anthony over there.
So is name license, is there a fee per each name license, or do they give you a number?
Fee per license. So if you look at the spreadsheet there, in order to calculate across funds, what I did was I took in the license information, there's extra. In the license information, you'll see that standard pricing column.
Yep.
That's how much it costs normally per license. That cost share multiplier, that's how much it cost as a ratio of the cost they gave us in the enterprise deal. So in the first year, the $250 contributor licenses are only $1,865. In the second year, the $250 contributor licenses are $63.82. For the users that operate across multiple funds, I've just divided that number by 3 or by 4, however many funds they service.
Quite complicated spreadsheet. Does this take, is there a conversion cost? Or did you say it was waived?
Nope.
There's no conversion?
No, there's no conversion cost because we don't, all of the data still works. So that's the neat thing about shape files. So a lot of the stuff that you use in this program is primarily called a shape file. It's a .shp. The second kind of file that you can use is typically a CAD file, which takes a little bit of conversion. It's a DWG file. All of those files are read by anything that reads shape files. So a lot of times what you're getting at, if you change databases, if we were to change from Munis to some other ERP program, there's going to be a lot of data conversion that comes into, and there's like 6 months of hand holding while they move it all over. We just open up our shape files in this. We find the file location, we just open it and it opens. For instance, they are so convertible. I use a free program at the house for my own personal maps. And sometimes if I'm working at the house called QGIS, it's free. Don't get your hopes up. It doesn't do a whole,
You can open the file.
you got to open the file, and if you want to really, it's free for a reason, because if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of spatial analysis and all that kind of stuff, I think they offer that as a paid service, but you need to understand Python and how to write it and work through it. Yeah, and I took a Python.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I took a short Python class that I bought by myself for $5, and then I didn't finish it. It was a lot. Thank you, John. Yep. ArcGIS Pro and ArcMap will do that, but the conversion isn't. You use what you got.
Will there be a learning curve for the employees, or is it kind of intuition?
Well,
Based.
for the employees that currently use it, there is a learning curve. However, it's just an easier version of the software to use. For the most of the people on here right now only use ArcMap if they're opening up the program to see what size that water line is anyway. They're not editing. Those people, I wouldn't call it necessarily a learning curve as much as I would a learning, right? Most of the users that you'll see in this mobile worker, they're not editing data.
They're just viewing the data to see where.
They're viewing the data, and they're also doing minor edits. So what that would mean is I'm out in the field, I get a work order, I go out to what I thought was a 6-inch water line, turns out it's a 4-inch. I can update that so that I don't have to send that off to somebody else to update that. It's marked, John updated this.
What I like about name licenses that you have
Audits. If you change data, you can audit it. It's got J Fowler beside it, A Sutton, and you know who changed it. Once you kind of move farther down the license structure, those creators, that creator license is kind of analogous to the basic license that we have now. You can't do a whole lot of, you can do a lot of major edits. You can make maps. All the maps that you've seen us make for you have been done with that license. But if you think about ArcGIS as a database software, more of a data management software than it is a map making software, that's really what it is. You can't get into the nuts and bolts of spatial analysis. I can't plug in the best location for this certain type of thing, depending on its location to schools, neighborhoods, hospitals, or bars, right? There's a lot of math involved in that. And
This will help with
stormwater for sure. Professional licenses and those professional plus licenses are the ones that'll open up the doors for some of that more Euclidean geometry.
And for time, I'll just cut right to the chase. So the cost is going to increase from $3,766.44 to $20,600 per year.
A year for the first year, that being this year, and we've already got this is the $6,000, yeah, in total. Yep.
Right. And then each year thereafter, is there a length of the contract we're signing?
This is a 3-year contract. Yep.
So we could possibly get them to lock in, because we know it's not going to go away. So a 5-year contract to lock in that cost of $20,600.
I could ask them for a 5 for sure. If I can't get them to do a 5, because I think when I asked them about moving some of these around, like if you look at the mobile worker spot, you see I'm just kind of running out, right? And so I asked them, I said, hey, can I take some of these creator licenses or these professionals and move them up and switch them? And they said no.
One last question. Is this going to add a lot of work on you for managing the users? Or is this going to be offshot to electronic office?
Well, not EO. My idea would be that your department head can kind of manage your users. So the department head would have a list of users. If they need to make a request, that's fine. I can talk to the account manager and everything. But the managing of the users once we have them isn't the difficult part. If somebody is no longer with the town, I mark their user name off. We still have that license. I just take the name off of it.
Someone else. The reason John will probably contest this. Sometimes managing licenses is a lot.
Oh, I found that out when I was trying to figure out who gets what. I mean, that's in between everything I was doing, probably 2 weeks.
That
or a month.
extra 5-10 hours of work on that.
Mhm.
Okay. And then I'll be quiet.
So, I was looking over those cards and the various
It's neat.
solutions they offer, and I noticed, for example, cemetery management.
Yep.
Right now, we're using Pontum, I guess, or at some point.
We moved from SemScience to Ponum, or Ponum to SemScience. Which one?
No, Sunset.
SemScience.
Okay, so the upshot is we are paying for a software solution to manage the cemetery and.
Cemetery
this-
deeds. So I think if I could, the SemSites program offers the solution to manage the legal work.
Okay,
primarily.
so this cemetery management card I'm looking at wouldn't replace.
No, I don't think that could replace it. What that would allow us to do is better map the cemetery and have a better idea on maintenance schedules, current infrastructure, the state of decay at certain places.
And
It's very
also be
rare.
able to maintain and give information to family members of
Yes.
where their
Mhm.
gravesites actually are.
If I can speak on that, that is a common request, is
I know
if
it
you
is.
send me a screenshot of the map, and the one that SemScience offers is not great, so that
No.
would be another way to
I
utilize
have-
this stuff.
Family members that I'm still trying, because we've lost over the years where they are, and I'm still trying to find them.
Let me know.
Instead of going through the whole.
Okay, and lastly, and I think based on your explanations and this spreadsheet I see, is.
I was proud of it. That's why I printed it out.
It's pretty spiffy. And I am I love Excel, so kudos to you. And so when I first saw read the license guide, I was like confused about Creator, Professional, Pro Plus. And so we are getting a mix of
Those licenses.
all three licenses and will be assigned based on your.
On the front end, it seems like that's what we're gonna do. Now, I know fire kind of spoke it. The idea is to kind of implement this into fire and police too, but we wanted to start with the big one. So we've got licenses that we move around. But seeing as how, to be frank, we were doing a lot of reorganization and a lot of streamlining in public works, I started with them. And I started with the users that we currently have using them. So planning, stormwater, public works, and because Parks and Recreation falls so closely into the idea of land management, that I threw them in there too. And I've done a lesson already with Ricky and Hutch and Charles. I haven't gotten to Luke yet, but Luke, as you know, Public Works Director, he's very excited about the opportunity to kind of dive into GIS and start doing a lot of this stuff. I can give a good kind of introductory course if I've got a day. The last two courses I tried to teach folks were in 2 hours, and it was kind of like I just couldn't get it all organized. I'm not a teacher. But if I sit down with somebody for a day, I can get them up and running. And
So.
and then there's tons of classes. I've been to 2 at NC State.
Upshot is we're looking at just under $50,000 for 3 years. But which is not an insubstantial amount of money. But it seems to me that the benefits that we will realize.
I think they're big.
More than justify the expenditure, so.
And without the enterprise deal, in order to kind of unlock some of the needs that we have, and I use unlock for a reason, we would need to have several of those professional and professional plus licenses. And without the enterprise package, we're running up on that 20 grand anyway.
Yeah.
So you get a bunch of extra ones for incredibly cheap. It's 80 grand a year per license if you don't have the deal.
I foresee that this will expand with all these other areas after the first, as you know, it takes 2 to 3 years to ramp up.
Yep.
At least.
And we got to have time to kind of formulate
Because there's
A training
management
package.
in this that's, I find exciting.
oh yeah. And once you kind of get into it, the ideas start coming. That's what I noticed, like when I started really screwing around with GIS as a database software more than just a map making software, is that you have the opportunity to really make a lot of correlations that you can call causal very quickly. It's a bad joke.
John, good? Yeah. Julie, you have any questions?
I don't, and with full disclosure, this is above my technical forte, so yes, I trust Anthony and John explicitly, and as you as well, so.
I'm excited about it. Also, you can make maps look a lot prettier with this, and I like to make them look pretty.
Both mine too.
Spend half my time doing that.
Did,
Get it.
I'll defer to the experts, and thank you, Jesse, for doing this. And I'll make a motion that we adopt the,
Okay.
to approve the contract, with the agreement with the small local government cloud-based enterprise agreement for 3 years. Well, and for at least 3 years and 5 years if we can get it.
So what I'll do is I will ask for 5, and if they say no, we'll just sign the contract.
Exactly. Yeah, it never hurts to ask.
Of
I'll
course.
second that. Well, Julia second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Okay, thanks, Jason. We'll move on to that item 5.
Mr. Mayor, I've had the privilege of getting to know Kip Sutton over the last little while. He's a fairly new resident in the town of Waynesville, and he's going to tell you some of the things he's been doing. He's on our Environmental Sustainability Board. He went to the North Carolina Energy Conference with us, and he's a very valuable member. We're lucky to have him. So, Kip, tell us about, and I asked him if he'd tell us about himself, also what he's doing, and the framework of how you're working and doing this.
Good evening, council, and thank you for the invitation to speak to you. Yes, a little bit of background. I just finished up with a 2-decade career in the Foreign Service, the U.S. Foreign Service, mostly overseas. And we got lucky enough to settle on beautiful Waynesville as our place to settle for a bit. Have a couple of daughters in the school system and a wife working in the area. But we're very excited to be here, and it's great to be very soon. I think within 3 months or so of arriving, I was able to join the Environmental Sustainability Board, which is doing some great work, which we can get into a little bit. We'll see some examples of that. And I also have started to work for a local nonprofit called the Environmental Action Community, which does a lot of great work in the community and is partnering on the grant with the ESB in the town that we'll be talking about, the C-LEAP grant, for those of you that might be aware of. So can we put up the slide? So the purpose of the presentation, most of the presentation today, is to look at one of the deliverables of the grant. The grant is from the Department of Energy, for those that aren't aware of it. And the majority of the grant goes towards technical studies for the town's energy systems and looking at ways of enhancing those, for cost savings, for sustainability, for resilience in storm situations, those types of things. So there's things like looking at options for putting solar and battery storage on the rec center, on the public works building, as a emergency command center for storms response and things like that, as well as options to replace the diesel generator with battery storage, and just a lot of different ideas for the ways for the town to kind of improve and save on money in the long term. One of the other aspects of the grant that the Environmental Action Community has partnered on is getting out information about ways for the whole community to become more sustainable, for residents and businesses and things, ways for folks to save money, to take advantage of the wonderful resources we have in the town, and just become aware of the programs that are out there. And so one of the deliverables was the creation of some additional pages to the website of the town. And these are now complete. I mean, it's a bit of a living, well, it's not a full website, so living web pages that can be edited. And thanks to the expertise of Candace and her availability, she's able to update these as programs change or information changes. But the intent of this was to really push out the knowledge for the residents and the businesses and even the visitors of the town on the different programs and options that are out there. Everything from energy efficiency programs that are Duke or state-based or federal-based, to things like the locations of all the parks in the town, the locations of the town buildings and town services that are offered, like police and fire. And so if you want to, are you controlling it? Yeah, this doesn't control it.
No, it does not, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So we just talked about, we tried to mimic a bit of the structure of the website, the town's website, so that it would be familiar. So we have a residence a businesses and a visitor section. And both of those go into sort of lists of different programs that are available to those subgroups, things that they can tap into, whether it's, composting, options for solar, accessibility to, chargers, things like that. And then if you want to click on the interactive map button, just this is kind of a fun little feature that we put in there. So this is a map of Waynesville, and we tried to put down all the categories of things that we thought would be of interest under the sustainability rubric. So you see, if you can sort of scroll to the key at the bottom, are you all seeing this on your screen?
Yes, we have that right.
So you can see my eyesight is not as good as it used to be, but does that say, so yeah, so there's a button for EV chargers. Now, if you click that, for example, it'll just highlight,
I noticed two of the icons were missing too, so I wonder if there's something on the website.
Here it
Oh.
is.
We don't have anything.
Get updated on mine.
what about the other one?
We got 1,
Oh,
2,
there we
3,
go.
4, 5 EV chargers.
It's just not picking up.
Yeah.
We know it was working when we
It's broke because we're live.
That's right.
Click the Greenways one again, Jesse, that one came up.
So as an example, you can see the town and the entire county, as you probably know, has a greenway master plan. There are some sections that are complete, some that are being worked on, some that are in the future. And so we have those mapped out for folks to be aware of and take advantage of, sort of understand the plan. We have the town buildings all listed there as well for folks interested in sort of the services. We have all the parks listed. Wow, now you're showing the icon. Weird. We did make sure that we tested it before we paid, the developer for this.
It's working on mine.
So, oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's working on mine.
Interesting. So it's something about the sizing, I guess, of the screen, maybe. But it's a very useful interactive map, and it's something we can continue to update. For example, you may be aware we have a grant in the works for high-speed EV chargers over in the Hazelwood area parking lot, which we'll hopefully hear some positive news about soon. And so if those were to go in, we would just add in a spot and a description of those on the websites for folks to be aware of. If you want to scroll down from the map a bit, Jesse, please. So we wanted to keep it interactive. We wanted to keep it educational. So we have a section with some fun facts about the town and the county. Some of the things that make, the town unique in terms of its environmental status, being Haywood being a headwaters only county, one of only 2 in the U.S., where all the water in the county comes from within the county itself. Things about, being the wettest point on the East Coast as well, which we've all experienced well, I think, this year with all the rain we've gotten. But just some areas that make this a really beautiful place to live in and something we should all, I think, appreciate and conserve as we go forward. And some interesting, we think, things as well about the town. And if you keep going down a bit, we talk a little bit about why sustainability is good for the town in terms of cost savings, in terms of sort of the livability and the health of the community, and conserving the beautiful environment we live in. Keep scrolling down a little more. And we come to a section, and this is sort of a section where with information for folks. And so we talk about under the activities and achievements area, what we've been doing on the ESB and the work we've been engaging in with the town. Under programs, you look at opportunities, as I was talking about, for rebates for things like energy efficiency and solar, EVs, and other things that are happening in the state and in the county. We even have a volunteer section for folks that are interested in sort of getting out there and contributing to the different nonprofits in the area. And then we have sort of a library section that lists just lots of resources, again, at the federal level, state level, within the town itself. So we want this to be kind of a one-stop shop for folks to be able to get a lot of information on these articles. We have a link to the board, and then the Parks and Rec Department, because that's a part of just a healthy lifestyle and sustainable lifestyle. And then we have a very short frequently asked questions, but that'll expand as we get more folks putting things in. We're just talking about the tree ordinance and other areas. So we tried to also integrate it into the website. I think it's under the government pages. And we talk about some of the other services that the town offers as well. So we felt this was a nice way to spread the awareness to the community about the options that we have and the opportunities. And it was just one of the deliverables under the CLEAP grant that we've been working on. So open to any questions from you all, if there's other
Betsy,
things
you
you
got a
want to
question?
know.
And no, it looks very good.
Okay.
Did Candace do a lot of work on
Dustin did a lot of the framework, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Candace polished it up very nicely.
John?
I would just say outstanding. This is
You already know this.
fantastic. I'm geeking on this, so good job.
Thank you.
Y'all doing great work.
Yeah, thank you so much for, bringing this to the board and over this there. We totally appreciate being on our board, new member on our board.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great group of people doing some good things, so it's a fun group to be a part of.
And the board will be back. They're doing other things, the environmental action community, some things in the community to raise awareness, to help
Mhm.
people with energy efficiency. And so we'll be back to talk more about that.
Good.
I just,
I look forward to getting those AV stations in Hazelwood.
Yeah, I think it'll bring in more business, a lot of people.
That area could use that. A
Mhm.
lot of folks that go there, or especially early in the mornings.
Right.
For coffee and breakfast there.
Right.
Yeah.
And they picked it, I mean, the location was strong for them because it's so close to the highway pass.
Right.
And there aren't a lot of chargers as you go west of Asheville. So
So
it's
it's-
really nice.
where you get the next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
That's good.
Okay.
And then, Mr. Mayor, the other item I wanted to bring up was, it would actually be a motion I'll make in a minute, but the second Tuesday in November is a holiday. It is November 11th, which is Veterans Day. We'd be closed and would not be able to have that meeting anyway. The fourth Tuesday, the 25th, is the week of Thanksgiving, and, sometimes people might be doing some things then. So my motion would be to change both of our meetings I'm not sure the exact motion, to change our meetings in November from November the 11th and 25th to November the 18th, which would be the third Tuesday.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, got a motion by Chuck, second by John. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Okay. That works out. We still have a meeting in between there. Rob, you have anything for us tonight?
Just something briefly. I sent you a copy of the front page of the Raleigh News and Observer on your website today. And it featured the problems that Haywood County is having in getting reimbursement for FEMA. Canton there's a number of pictures of Canton, and Mayor Smathers did a good job of explaining that the small towns in the county are almost out of money because they haven't been compensated from FEMA. And I wanted to bring you an update of our latest challenge when you kind of talk about what's going on. I individually have told you that we submitted the $380,000 for the Depot Street Bridge to FEMA, thinking that we'd get a check in the return mail, only to find out that it was a part of a street system we never heard of before called the USAID Highway, and that FEMA said we'd have to apply to the Federal Department of Highway Administration. With the help of North Carolina DOT, we did, and they came back and denied it because we didn't meet their construction specifications. The issue is the head Federal Highway Administration and FEMA have different construction specifications. So we met FEMA's because that's where we thought we were going to get compensated, and we got turned down by an agency we didn't think had any jurisdiction. So I'm preparing a letter to FEMA objecting to they're turning us down and showing that FHA, Federal Highway Administration, has denied our request in hopes that they'll reconsider our request. I'm also going to send a copy of that to Congressman Edwards. But we were informed by our local folk, who are, by the way, in favor of our FEMA request, that FEMA in Washington is going to drop us from their list of requests because we have not acted on our FEMA request. Well, we did act, but FEMA sent it to FHA. FHA turned it down and sent it back to us. And now I guess we're supposed to resubmit to FEMA, but they're saying we're probably going to turn you down because your request has lingered with us too long. So if you wonder where the block is, it's in Washington. It's our local FEMA folks have been great, but this is the type of thing that statewide article in Raleigh goes into detail on, and I just wanted to bring that up to the board to let you know that the $380,000 is 2 cents on our tax rate. It's not inconsequential to Waynesville. And if this is what's going on in North Carolina, I understand the frustration of Canton and Clyde and the other communities that are affected by Helene. Thank you.
Can you get me a copy of that letter before next Tuesday? I'll be traveling to DC on Tuesday with the American Flood Coalition.
I'll get you a copy tomorrow. I'll just
Thank you.
send it to
I'll
you.
be up there Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, meeting with members of Congress and Senate
Okay.
to discuss this very topic.
But from my standpoint, it's ludicrous.
Yes,
to say that.
Yeah, and I'd like a copy as well, and I will say, if stand corrected, so almost $7 billion, the state of North Carolina is going to receive $1.4 billion. That's the only
7%.
That's all we've been reimbursed, the state of North Carolina, which is West North Carolina, basically. And so there's still a tremendous, like $5 billion that has not been reimbursed. So Rob, I understand your frustration, we all do. So what a mess, but yeah.
But you'll see the article was very well written, and I was so pleased to see it because the News and Observer is kind of the statewide newspaper. And it
Sure,
was
it's gonna
very,
make my reception so much better next week.
well, again, y'all have it in your email. I know you haven't had a chance to look at it, but I want to get it to Anthony before he went on his sojourn, his walkabout.
We're scheduled to meet with a lot of congressmen and senators from across the country, so wish me well, please. I think it's a sad state that we actually have to take time to go.
Yeah, Bucko County's dealing with the same thing. I don't know.
They're in worse shape than we are, actually.
Yeah.
Madison County is in horrible state ahead, or
Yancey and Mitchell County, I can't
Lake
imagine.
Lore.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah, like.
There's some towns that have already put out more than what they have in their fund balance.
Lake Lure.
Lake Lore is
It's
Yeah.
very, very hard.
Yeah, Chimney Rock.
Rob, you have anything else?
No, sir, I just wanted to bring that up.
Town attorney?
I have nothing for the office. either.
All right, we'll go on here, communication with our staff. What do you think?
Sergeant's dog walks this Saturday, 9 o'clock, starting at the courthouse. We've got that. It's gonna be a fun day and great weather. And if you don't have your own little pooch, we will let you walk on the guys that are up for adoption. So 9 o'clock, this coming Saturday.
Okay, Anthony, anything?
I think I'm sorry.
John? Yeah. One thing I'd like to bring to your attention is I went to Art After Dark this past Friday, and I just want to say that the small businesses that we have here in Waynesville, we are very, very fortunate. I went into a lot of those shops I haven't been into that are new, and I'm telling you, you're wasting time to go into Gatlinburg and all these other places. You come to Western North Carolina, to Waynesville, North Carolina, if you want to see some beautiful little small business, whether it's into art, or, you know, furniture, old furniture, clothes, or whatever, you know, our little town, I was so impressed. I was so impressed. And, also we had some entertainment on the street, you know, some folks that were, I think they were from like Louisiana or something like that, and they were awesome. So if you get a chance, guys, take a time and walk your main street, and just walk into some of these shops and just, you'll be fascinated by the quality of businesses that we have here in Waynesville.
Yeah, there's a ribbon cutting, I believe, on the, is it between one or something, for the herbal bar.
Yeah.
That relocated from Block Level to across the street.
Y'all
So
ought to check that out. She's
amazing.
really done good work back
Yeah.
there.
We need to probably try to make that.
Yeah,
One,
You send us a reminder.
I did.
She just did.
Yep.
Yes.
one thing that I was reminded of, the Downtown Waynesville Commission is having a merchant social, on the 22nd of September at 5:30 at the new Roost Chop House.
Yeah.
And so would love to see y'all there. You mentioned Art After Dark and the merchants that have kind of taken that and run with it, are obviously doing great work. And I think the DWC is very supportive of that, and there is a effort to better communicate and work with the merchants and small businesses on Main Street. And you are 100% right, Mayor. We got a lot of really unique, wonderful businesses. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Boojums, and every time I walk into that place, it just thrills me knowing that that is a small business that was homegrown here, and it's knocking it out of the park. And there are many similar businesses all up down
All up down Main Street.
Main Street and in town as well. So
Did you say that was September 22nd?
September 22nd at the Chop House at 5:30.
There's on my schedule.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, there actually is one thing I'd like to tell you, to commend one of our employees, Wayne Boland. Our son was in Asheville last Saturday night, and he came out of the place where he'd been, and there was a kitten up in the wheel well of his car. They called the sheriff's, the police department, the fire department. They all came. They couldn't get the cat out. The kitten out there, it's meowing and just going on. He drove back to Waynesville. He took the back roads. He didn't want to go on the interstate. He got here, the cat's still there, meowing, just going crazy. I couldn't get the cat out, but the next morning, my wife got on Facebook, and Wayne Bowen came on his own time. And somehow I took some of the parts of the car out, and they got that little kitten out of the car.
That's sweet.
And
That's
it's
a
only
good
about
story.
5 weeks old, so.
And now it's living at your house. It's gonna
Well, no, actually, my wife was, of course, involved in all this. I know they found some milk for the cat and that kind of stuff, but he found a home for the cat. So somebody from DSS took the cat. So anyway, but Wayne, came out on time. He and his son, it's another good
You
thing.
pass that along to
Hire employees to do.
to Wayne and Nolan there. And also, we appreciate the staff being here tonight, your police and fire and public works director. We appreciate you guys all being here tonight. With no further, I'll ask for a motion that we adjourn.
Yes.
Julie,
Second.
second, Chuck, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, show like sign. Thanks, guys. We get you out, Julie?
I'm good. Yes.